What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today we're talking about Tesla's full self-driving software and a moonshot that could potentially cost over $20,000 one day in the not too distant future, totally transform the economics of the automotive business, and justify Tesla's valuation as the most valuable automotive company in the world. Tesla's meteoric stock rise over the past year has caught a lot of people by surprise, not Hyperchange subscribers, but the company's value has soared to about $250 billion, with the stock quintupling as the company continues to post record deliveries, gain market share, and this has left a lot of industry skeptics sort of baffled, scratching their head at the company's valuation, how it could be worth so much more than all of these legacy car companies. Well, I think the root of this difference is A, that Tesla's growing much faster, electric vehicles are the future, but the second thing is software is becoming a bigger and bigger piece of the vehicle. These are not just cars. Tesla's really selling computers on wheels, and in the background of them growing deliveries, of everything that's been going on, the functionality of their autopilot software and full self-driving software has been increasing over the past year or two, and they've actually been raising their prices of this software feature pretty consistently. In fact, the reason why I'm making this episode is because Tesla just raised the price of its full self-driving package from $7,000 to $8,000 per car at the end of June. Elon Musk tweeted on May 18th that they were going to do this price raise, and then offers a really, really interesting clue that has got me scheming, which is the full self-driving price will continue to rise as the software gets closer to full self-driving capability with regulatory approval. At that point, the value of full self-driving is probably somewhere in excess of $100,000. That's right. Elon Musk is saying that the value of this software package that allows the cars to drive themselves when it hits regulatory approval could be worth $100,000 per car. I mean, the car itself only costs $45,000 to $50,000. If Tesla has this added $100,000, software package on top of the car, that's totally going to transform the economics of the vehicle. And just to give you a little bit of history about how all of this started and worked, because since 2016, Tesla's been outfitting all of their vehicles with the hardware necessary to achieve full self-driving, and has essentially started this massive data collection program to collect billions of real-world miles with their software to train their neural nets and begin developing autonomous vehicle technology. I tried to look into the price history of full self-driving while making this episode and see how much they've raised it over time, and it's pretty confusing because there's been a lot of changes. I think this Reddit post sort of sums up just how crazy it was, because at one point Tesla had autopilot, which was an upgrade, enhanced autopilot, which was in between autopilot and full self-driving. They also had full self-driving. They kept changing the prices and features of these different programs over the past couple of years, and then finally have sort of readjusted it so that every single vehicle includes autopilot, the basic autopilot software, and there's just one upgrade, which is for full self-driving. And now, since they've sort of locked in this new system, the price of full self-driving has continually been going up as they've been increasing the functionality. So just so we're on the same page, so I can show you what this includes, autopilot versus self-driving, this is on the Model Y ordering page. You can see that autopilot enables your car to steer, accelerate, and brake automatically for other vehicles and pedestrians within its lane. So what that does is the car will just stay in its lane by itself, follow the car in front of you, nothing too fancy. But if you get the full self-driving package, which is what Tesla is selling here, that for that $8,000 add-on, you get navigate on autopilot, automatic driving from highway on-ramp to off-ramp, including interchanges and overtaking slower cars, auto lane change, automatic lane changes while driving on the highway. This to me is really where it feels like you're actually in a self-driving car, because the Tesla will change lanes, overpass people who are slower. Like if you're actually in the Tesla and it has this navigate on autopilot feature on, it has what I call the robo lane change, where the car will change lanes by itself. And I think that is one of the most cutting edge, crazy feelings of full self-driving technology in the wild, is having your Tesla amidst all these other cars on the freeway, make its own decision to change lanes, whether it needs to pass a car or to exit, whatever it is, and then it just does it by itself. Pretty insane that actually exists, but that's part of the package. Then you also get auto park, which is pretty cool. The car will park itself for people like me who are horrible at parallel parking. This is a really awesome feature. Then you get summon, which is really dope, where you're in a parking lot. This is like the coolest party trick, where you just like press a button on your app and the car will drive itself to you from a parking lot super slowly, but there's no one in it. So that is super fun. That's why they say like your car will come find you anywhere in a parking lot, really. And then the last thing is traffic light and stop sign control, assisted stops at traffic controlled intersections. And then coming later this year, auto steer on city streets. So both of these features are sort of this new massive push which Tesla's made to allow autopilot not just to work and change lanes on the highway, but now have more and more functionality and practicality in city streets and arterials. To me, this is a game changer for functionality. I think a lot of people already drive on autopilot on the freeway all the time, but now if that rolls out into city streets, I mean, the amount of use cases or like percentage of minutes drive that autopilot can address now, or full self-driving can address now, it just continues to go up with every single feature release. That's what's so amazing about this feature and product is the over-the-air software update nature of the way Tesla's designed their cars. Like, these are really just computers on wheels. It updates just like your smartphone would. It's connected to Wi-Fi in your garage. Your Tesla's constantly getting updates. I think they push out, a couple a month, one a week, maybe even more than that. To different owners, bug fixes, new features, all of that stuff. But the point is that it's connected. And once you're buying full self-driving, you literally buy into for a lifetime of updates. Like, as these millions of drivers are training the neural net, as it keeps getting better, as Tesla releases new features based on all this new data, they're going to update your car and it's going to keep improving and getting better and better as you drive. So, a lot of people, there's this theory of like Tesla's like an appreciating asset because as the car gets smarter and better at driving, its value goes up in a weird way. I mean, this software full self-driving package you could buy for $5,000 or $6,000 just a year or two ago. Now they're charging $8,000 for that same package. You could have locked in that price and had all that functionality. So it's pretty incredible to see that Tesla's already charging $8,000 for this feature and, has been raising the price despite, the pandemic, despite the turmoil, despite the automotive market crashing. Like, none of that matters because the functionality keeps improving. So we're kind of in uncharted territory here. I mean, there's never really been a car company that has had a software package like this, has charged this much. So, knowing how much consumers will pay, what the uptake will be, how much they can raise prices is all sort of new territory. But I've been personally pretty blown away at the attachment rate for full self-driving. And my theory is there's sort of a balance going on at Tesla HQ of, as the attachment rate, more and more people, choose this option with their cars. And as features increase, they're sort of seeing these two levers go up and increasing the full self-driving price accordingly. And one of my favorite Tesla Twitter accounts, Troy Teslike, has been compiling owners data from the Model Y and has shown, these are very enthusiastic owners. So I don't know if this is really, showing the true data across all people buying Teslas, but he's showing that the attachment rate for full self-driving is around 50% of people are actually choosing to buy this software option. I mean, it's pretty insane to think that is, this isn't like a niche thing that just a couple Tesla customers buy. Like, almost half of them, at least that fill out the survey, are buying that. And that's insane. So I think this is already providing a huge, huge value. And if you think about it, $8,000 sounds like a lot, but think about how much you're in your car and think about how much driving autopilot can do for you. If you only put on autopilot for an average of 2 hours a week, 120 minutes a week, times 52 weeks per year, times 10 years, we'd be looking at 62,400 minutes on autopilot where your car is driving itself. So if you paid $8,000 for that software package for it to drive itself, not including any of those other features, then that would have only been a cost of about 13 or 12 cents per minute. So your car can drive itself 13 cents per minute. I mean, if you're thinking about paying an Uber or a valet or a chauffeur or anyone like that, it's not going to come anywhere near 12 or 13 cents per minute. And this is when the car is driving itself. So if you think about, and as the software gets better, as there's more and more places that it can drive, it can go in city streets, it justifies them to keep raising the price as you're getting so much value out of this software package. And another way to think of this, went on this like little tweet storm before Tesla's famous autonomy day a year ago, really could not think of a bigger disruption of when, full self-driving truly hits the robotaxi moment. It'll totally change how we get from point A to B, make so much cheaper to get around. I mean, the average Uber ride or taxi ride can cost about $2 a mile. Cars live for 150,000 miles. Robotaxis could charge $1 a mile and generate 150,000 in revenue over their lifetime. Transportation as a service flips gross margin structure of vehicles from 20 to 50%. And Elon Musk actually chimed in on this, saying the Model 3 unit and body is designed like a commercial truck for a 1,000,000-mile battery life. Current battery modules should last 300 to 500 miles, 1,500 cycles. Replacing modules not pack will only cost 5 to 7K. So what Elon Musk is saying is 150,000 miles isn't even close to as much as these robotaxis could actually drive around. I mean, Tesla's designing their powertrain and now battery to actually last 1,000,000 miles. So if you're charging even 50 cents a mile, but you drive 1,000,000 miles on full self-driving, I mean, that's $500,000 worth of value or potential revenue that this thing could generate. And this is a car that originally was selling for around $50,000. So that's why when going back to this original tweet, Elon Musk says that full self-driving could be worth $100,000 or more, it's because that is just the net present value of the potential cash flows of the car with that software feature enabled. Now, to drive home on this, let's go into Tesla's Autonomy Day presentation that happened a couple days after I tweeted that. So they show how part of the master plan for Tesla is to roll out basically enable a robotaxi where your car can make money without you driving it. This is called the Tesla network. And so the way the Tesla network would work, any customer will be able to add their car to the fleet. They can share it at particular times if they want to, or they need it at some time, but they don't need it at others. They can only share it with friends or coworkers if they want to. And this can help to offset the vehicle or lease payments, actually generate revenue, and potentially have your car, significantly decrease your payments. And this will all interface through this basically Tesla network ride-sharing Uber-esque app where you can order rides, manage your car if it's, out giving rides. They talk about this demand distribution, about how these cars would be leveraged to, maximize your morning and, afternoon commute, although it's pretty ironic because nobody's really commuting anymore, or the total commute has been totally disrupted by Rona, so that's all changing. The first phase of how this will look like will be the Model 3 taxi. And so they claim they can make this for only $25,000 if necessary, but this is why Tesla is actually, they've in all their Model 3 leases, you don't even have the option to buy your car back at the end of the lease because they think that Model 3 they sold you, now 2 years ago still has all that hardware for full self-driving. They can just put a software update, it can drive around, become a robotaxi, start generating revenue for them, and they're so confident in that they are already planning to buy back every single Model 3 that they've ever leased. And if that shows you how much conviction Tesla has in the value of these robotaxis with this full self-driving software. And they also say that in cities where demand exceeds supply of customer-owned cars, Tesla will operate its own fleet, ensuring you can always hail a ride from us no matter where you are. So that's really interesting that Tesla would be deploying its own vehicles in cities as part of their network. To sort of show the value of this software at a high level, Tesla shows the comparison to the traditional cost of running an internal combustion engine vehicle. 62 cents per mile, average cost of all-in ownership, insurance, gas, upfront price of the car, all of that. You drive at 13,500 miles a year. There's 250 million of these on the road. That's 2 trillion per year sort of economic opportunity, actually just in the US alone, for, the car transportation sort of economic use case. The average cost of ride sharing, $2 to $3 per mile. The average cost to run a robo-taxi per mile would be just 18 cents. So literally 1/10, an order of magnitude cheaper to operate than the current system we're all getting around on. And then you dive into, okay, well, if it only costs 18 cents per mile, 65 cents per mile in gross profit, 90,000 annual miles, 16 miles per hour, driving around 16 hours per day. That means a single car could allow for $30,000 in gross profit per year. So anyway, I'm diving into these calculations really quick to just show you the justification for why when Elon Musk and people like me say that this could be $20,000, $30,000, or the value could be $100,000 per year of full self-driving in the future, it's because of these economics and equations that if your car is working for you, it's going to make so much money. I mean, this is really a flipping on its head of the entire economics of what a car is and how much profit it will generate. Now, to triple down and drive this home with you, I wanted to illustrate what's happening, more granularly with Tesla and the Model Y, because what I think is crazy here is what I'm calling the incremental gross margin opportunity. They don't need to hit full self-driving for the financial impact of this technology and this software to be massive for Tesla. I think this is what the market is starting to appreciate. I think this is what I've been starting to appreciate more and more is like, this isn't niche. Almost, it looks like a huge portion of the customers are opting for this package, and they continue to raise the price for this package. So let's just take the Model Y for an example here. As you can see, the starting price is $52,990 long-range Model Y. The cost of that vehicle, let's say, is $45,000. Now the profit from that, $7,990, 15% gross margin. Now here's a look at what Tesla's gross margin has been over time. As you can see, pretty consistent, 15 to 20%, sort of going down as they've started to ramp the Model 3 and Model Y production. Annually, it has peaked in 2014, gone down as they've sort of dropped the price of their vehicles, computers on wheels. Tesla's units have gone up, but the average selling price has gone down. That's pressured gross margin. But I think that's all about to change. And we've already seen that strength in Q1. And I think, Tesla's not really selling cheaper cars now. It's sort of hit that bottom price point with the Model 3 and the Model Y. And as they hit more economies of scale, more pieces of software sort of becoming a part of that ASP, I think the gross margin overall for Tesla as a company, this chart is looking really, really strong and is about to totally U-turn and justify massive higher profitability per car sold and per dollar of revenue than anything we've ever seen in the automotive industry. And that's why the valuation is looking so out of whack with these legacy car companies. So let's dive into this comparison. That's with no FSD. If that, owner gets FSD, just to illustrate how transformative this is, the car costs $60,990. That's with the assuming $8,000 current dollar FSD price. Still costs $45,000. You remember, the car that they sold without FSD still has all the sensors. It still has, all the hardware necessary. Still has that Tesla full self-driving computer. And this is a funny example of like Tesla has probably 500,000, 800,000 cars on the road without full self-driving that are all driving around. So even if you don't get full self-driving when you buy the car, you can always upgrade to it in the Tesla store on the app later. So all of these cars driving around are another massive untapped revenue opportunity for this software as Tesla rolls out the functionality. But anyway, that's getting sidetracked. The point here is every car Tesla sells off the production line, whether you have FSD or not, has the hardware necessary to make it drive itself. You just need that software update and unlocking it at Tesla HQ. Beautiful computer on wheels. So the COGS here is still $45,000. Then the profit from this new car with FSD is $15,990. That puts the gross margin at 26.2%. Now let's compare this to the no FSD side by side. You can see the profit per car doubles. Even though we've only sold that car from 53 grand to 61 grand, Tesla's profit doubled. All of that, incremental full self-driving revenue is so high gross margin. They've already paid for it. It goes right to the bottom line. And it's going to be a massive needle mover for the profitability per car sold for Tesla. Now let's play this out because like I said, Tesla, it's only 8,000 today. We've already shown how as it keeps improving, Tesla will be able to keep justifying and raising that price. Let's say it doubles to 16,000. The price goes to 68, 69,000 for the Model Y, COGS still 45,000. Profit goes to 24,000 per car, 34.8% gross margin. All of a sudden, we've seen a tripling in the profit per car. Let's go one step further and say they hit $30,000 in FSD. That would change the price to $83,000 to consumers. COGS still $45,000, $37,000 or $38,000 in profit per car, 46% gross margin, gross profit per car plus 375%, almost a quintuple in profitability per car when FSD hits 30,000. So, I don't know when this is going to happen. It's going to take a while for Tesla to slowly ramp up the price here. But, this is the slow before our eyes transformation we're seeing of Tesla becoming one of the most profitable car companies of all time as this software, AI driver becomes a bigger and bigger piece of the value proposition. And so tying this all together, my theory in the long run is Tesla's gross margin has probably bottomed in 2019. And, there's other things going into here, the energy business. Tesla doesn't just sell cars, but this is the bulk of their company. And I think the structural gross margin of that automotive business is going to start trending back upwards, back to the mids, high 20% range eventually in the next couple years, depending on how this all unfolds. Because of the full self-driving package. And this is a huge, huge needle mover for profitability. Tesla's already a profitable car company. We've seen them continually, massive opportunity to grow revenue, but growing per car profits is another huge lever as well that is really coming to fruition here in the past couple quarters. We're already seeing hundreds of millions, almost billions of dollars stack up on the company's balance sheet in terms of deferred revenue. Tesla had about 1.53 billion in deferred revenue as of the end of Q1. They even said in their most recent 10Q filing with the SEC that they expect to recognize 810 million in just software revenue in the next 12 months. So to wrap it up, Tesla's full self-driving package just went up from $7,000 to $8,000. My theory is in the next 1 to 2 years, we could see the price increase dramatically, well over $10,000, hitting $20,000 plus inevitably in the long term if they hit regulatory approval for full self-driving. But regardless, as Tesla inches closer to the true robotaxi vision, every single step along the way, they're going to be able to raise that FSD price, charge more money on it, capture that profit on the way to full self-driving. By the time we get to the robotaxi, by the time Tesla fully achieves a regulatory approval for a robotaxi without a human driver in it, the game will be over. They will have already achieved or recognized massive software revenue, massive profitability from the years of development and incremental improvements. And so what I would be watching closely if I were you, an investor, Tesla owner, driving around in your car is what is the nature of these software updates? How good is the car getting at in-city driving? Because if they can keep pushing the envelope and improving there, I think the Tesla price could quickly rise to 9,000 for full self-driving, 10,000, and keep moving quickly. Wouldn't be surprised to see them start raising it in $2,000 increments as well. I mean, we've already seen they just opened reservations for the Cybertruck in China, and full self-driving there is $9,000, so it's already above that $8,000 number. Anyway, I would love to know what you think in the comments below about this incremental gross margin expansion opportunity. I think this is a huge deal, and it's exciting because as one of the early Tesla investors thinking about this company, and the long-term potential for them to really become sort of the Apple of cars, unlock the value of how the smartphone changed what a phone was and created so much value out of that. Tesla's going to do the same thing with the car, make it really a computer and make it a platform for all these different opportunities. I mean, there's so many different ways that could go. And that's always been the vision of Tesla Longs. But the financials of that, the technology of that have always been so far away. But in the past 2 years, it's all sort of come to fruition. Tesla's figured out how to price the full self-driving package. They've figured out how to separate it from autopilot. They've figured out how to get the neural net going with over 1 million cars on the road, push out these updates, constantly improve the software. And they've figured out how to make consumers happy enough to pay more and more for it and continue to raise that price. All these puzzle pieces are coming together and slowly fitting for Tesla to be the most profitable car company of all time. Tesla's literally going to be able to charge you more for the AI invisible software driver in the car than the actual car itself. Right now, it's only $8,000 and $50,000, but this could literally be, $55,000, $60,000 for the software and just $20,000 for the car eventually. So this flip-flop in economics is just an absolute game changer that Tesla's leading. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Huge shout out to our Patreon supporters, producers, fun in the channel. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.